Alright, hello. Today we are going to be learning, I'm going to be teaching you how to knit via internet. Really weird. But yeah, knitting is a very useful craft. A lot of people knit. Yeah. It's pretty useful. You can make really nice stuff with knitting. It does take a little bit of time to learn, but all you really need to get started are 2 knitting needles. I have size 7 right here, but the size isn't all that important. You don't want to start out really small, like a size 1. You don't want to start out really big, like size 50 knitting needles either. Like anywhere from like the 5 to 9 size range is probably close enough to the middle to do that at starting. I learned on size 6 needles, but size of knitting needles doesn't matter except for when you're checking your gauge for a pattern or something. And if the pattern says, a lot of patterns will say you need like size 5 knitting needles or size needed to obtain correct gauge. And the gauge is simply the number of stitches per inch. And so, back to knitting. Learn how to knit. The first thing you need to know to learn how to knit is how to cast on, how to put your loops onto the needle. To do that, you take your yarn. I am right-handed, and I use my left hand to cast on. So first of all you need to do is you need to make a slip knot. I do that by, I make a loop through the yarn, and I pull the tail through that loop, makes a knot. Then I pull the yarn that's coming from the skein through that loop and pull it tight. You slip knot, tighten, you pull from the skein and loosen when you pull from the tail. You slide that onto your needle. You pull it tight, not too terribly tight if you want it snug. And to cast on, you're going to take, I use my left hand. I take the yarn in my hand, and I wrap it around my thumb. I make a loop around my thumb. And I insert my needle right here. Loop around my thumb. And the base of the loop is right here. And I just insert it through there. So my yarn is actually coming from behind the loop now. And that'll hold it in place. So again, you wrap it around your thumb. And so you just have to insert the needle through the loop from your palm. Pull it snug next to your other loop. And again, just repeat this process until you have as many stitches as you want. I have 6 stitches here. And now to actually knit, a little closer to the camera now. What you're going to do is you're going to take both needles now. I have my loop needle, my left hand, just empty needle, right hand. You're going to take your empty needle, you're going to insert it in the back of the loop, the part of the loop that's facing the rest of your loops, the first loop. You're going to take your yarn, you're going to wrap it around your needle, so I wrap it up the left side and down the right. I'm just going to hold it on the right side. You're going to, you're going to pull your loop over the loop that was on your first needle over the second loop you made. Repeat that. Around the needle, up and over. Around the needle, up and over. You've got your loop. From my view, it looks like this. your loop. That is your tail. You always want, for this particular stitch, the plain knit stitch, you want your yarn always in the back of your knitting. In this first row, the right side is going to be facing you. And you just keep pulling it up and over. And on the last stitch, you're done with your row. And so, you just repeat that process for as many rows as you need to knit a garter stitch, which is either all knit stitches or all purl stitches. And a purl stitch is pretty much the reverse of the knit stitch. To do a purl, you want to insert your needle from the right side of the loop instead of the left. You're going to insert it on the other side. And you want your yarn facing you this time, not facing the other direction. And then you simply do the same thing. You loop your yarn around your needle, this time to the left, and you pull your loop over your new loop. Repeat that. You want your yarn, where's the camera? To go over your needle, and then you want to pull your loop over your loop, and you do that. And that is your purl stitch. And if you do a combination of knit one row and purl one row, you create a stocking net stitch, which is the very classic knit stitch, you know, all V-shaped. I can't make this camera zoom in, but let's see if I can show you there. It's very small. Those V-shapes are the stocking net, and these bumpy down here, that's your garter stitch. Very, very simple. And those are your two basic stitches of knitting.